It is showtime. Welcome back, guys, to our live show. Thursdays are on. We're talking about NRL fantasy. We're talking about that last minute decision. Who do you captain? Where do those trades go? Which players are going to explode this week? And what are the last changes to team lists? Now, as always, today's video is brought to you by SmartB. They make this possible. So absolutely love the guys at SmartB. And we'll do a couple of SmartB team builds today as well. Before we do tear in though, I'm just going to jump on some questions here. We've got some people jumping in the comments there. Let me know, guys, too. Can you hear me loud and clear? Is everything coming through? I've had a little bit of a at-home mic issue, so I've had to change it up, hence the different angle. You're seeing me in a different sort of light here, but yeah, let me know if that's all coming through clear for you. Now, Cam goes, I've got my tea, I've got my biscuits. Let's get this, guys. There's me, and then Stratton, good to see you, mate. Let's get this. Richard, let's go. Tromit, yo, yo, yo. Let's go from Jake, a W from Mateo Gaming. Yes, sir, from Keone. Captain choices, we'll hit that one in a sec, Josh. Then we got John here, sure. Mateo up, Schema up the Panthers. Oh, big game tonight against the Dogs. Haas pod captain. I think that's a big one. We'll talk about that in a second. Yep, good to see you, John. Loud and clear. Beautiful, beautiful. Would you trade out Colo? What's happening? Well, let's tear into some questions in a sec, guys. But really, what we're going to go through today, it's all on the board there. I'll show everyone who's bringing the hype. Nice is there, Sif is there, Jake is there, loud and clear, beautiful. David, Cles, no Cles till round 21. Yeah, we'll keep an eye on that Cleary news as well, because that's something we're going to discuss today. Getting a keeper is always a good move. Yo, 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 Noz, how you doing? Josh, thank you, mate. You're the GOAT. Oh, mate, it's pumping. It's pumping. All right, cool. Everyone's pumped for this week. I'm just going to keep running these as I start talking, because I feel like if you've brought the hype, you gotta get a little shout out here. Now, yeah, for this week, guys, it's an interesting week. So we put out a bit of content this week, and really, it's a tough one because you just you want to maximize points over the next couple of weeks. But the big play is, how do you set up your team with the maximum number of keepers for the run home? That's the big objective here. That's what we're trying to build. So if we can do that in a way that also gets us some buy coverage, that's a prime position. And Payne Haas, it's always good to see you here, Payne Haas. So Payne Haas taking some time away from training. Thank you, Payne Haas, for your 100 points. Appreciate you coming down. Yeah, beautiful, beautiful. I thought I was going to be clicking on a couple of comments, but you guys have you guys have fired up. And Bella from Fiji Islands. Oh, awesome. Hello. Good to see you, Greg. Yeah, I know the Fiji NRL fanatics. That's great. Longy, oh, I'm your captain. Oh, okay. I don't know how many points I'll score. But, you know, back in the day, we all played a lot of us played a bit of footy, right? Yeah, I had a few nice fantasy days out. Now, let's talk about captains this week, guys. So, who are we captaining this round? What are the options? Who are we going for? You're typically talking about a conversation of, Payne Haas, Terrell May, Nathan Cleary. That's normally what we're on about here. So for Payne Haas, Terrell May, Nathan Cleary, where do you go? Where do you go with those guys? That's the tough part. And look, Cleary's obviously carrying a bit of an injury, so he might be the one that we steer clear of. So then it becomes a case of, all right, Payne Haas, Terrell May. Right? That's the big one. And there are some other options as well, but I'll talk about those two first. So fixtures are really important. Also, before I do go into those, by the way, guys, a couple of the boys couldn't make it. So Turtles stuck at work. Rob stuck at work. We actually had a couple of the other boys who were going to jump on too, who couldn't jump on. So yeah, we're going to have a bit of a mix mash of people, but yeah, just me this week. So super straightforward. So for captains here, Terrell May's the first one. Let's talk about him. So you've mentioned it right away here. Jake's mentioned it. Terrell May, put in work against the Seagulls. Okay. That's a reasonably strong matchup. So if we look at Terrell May up against the Seagulls, they're missing some troops in the middle forward rotation, right? They're missing some troops. Does Terrell May take advantage of that? Now, one concern I do have here with Terrell May is last week he played 68 minutes. He's practically been playing sort of 75 to 85 minutes every week until that point. So we saw a bit of a drop off in the minutes there. And what we've seen this week is Jack Bird move to the edge, which means Seyfarth is now in the middle forward rotation as well. We've got Fanua Pole back too. We've got Twal playing as well. So there's a bit of more of a congested middle forward rotation for the Tigers. So that worries me a tiny bit with Terrell May. The thing is, though, it worries me a little bit as in it knocks him down from like a 75 to a 70 kind of average there. So it makes him reachable, but he's still a very, very strong captain option. So if you go on Terrell May, I don't know, that minute sort of knocked me off him a little bit. So I'm very okay with Terrell May. I think he's rightfully going to be the most popular captain this round. I think a lot of people will be on Terrell May as their captain, but yeah, you're sort of counting on this, right? Dropping 120 on Manly. Seagulls, trash last game. Yeah. My issue is that Terrell May, he's not been racking up big attacking stats. The offloads have fallen off a bit. He's actually gotten big scores out of his big tackle counts. So you actually don't want this to be a blowout to the Tigers, which I don't think it will be. It's an interesting game. Interesting game. So I think Terrell May is an okay option. Like, I would call Terrell May like an 8 out of 10 captain, which is very strong, but by his standards is a bit low. Now, if we go to Payne Haas is a matchup against the Warriors here. Day game of footy, maybe a little bit wet, a little bit wet, tiny bit wet. Day game of footy, you could see that potentially Payne Haas could be a big one this week. So then it's just, he scored that 100 last week, played big minutes there. He'd come off a couple of times in that game. Like, again, there's a little bit of worry here. So, again, I like Payne Haas against the Warriors. He's going to need to step up big in this game against the Warriors. But how does that game script go? Does it benefit Payne Haas? Does he stay fit the full game? Do they give him a rest if they get ahead? You know what I mean? Like, it's going to be a close game. Are they going to get blown out by the Warriors? Do the Warriors run ahead and then maybe Payne Haas gets a rest? That's kind of my concern there. So, yeah, it's a tough one. Again, I like Payne Haas. I'm going to call him like an 8 out of 10 as well. I think Payne Haas, Terrell May, they're very strong captain options. Now, just drop it in. Who are you guys thinking of captaining? If not Payne Haas, actually drop it in. If it's Payne Haas, Terrell May, drop them in too. But if not those guys, who would you be captaining? So I've got Cleary, potentially. We'll wait for the late mail. I know he was looking like he's going to play, so he should be all good. But we will check that late mail in about 10 minutes. That's when that comes through for the Thursday 7:50 p.m. game. So I'll check that in a sec. Noz wants to get on this pod. got to submit a tryout, mate. Then Buller, yep. Kikau, yeah, mate. A lot of great Fijian players have come through the game. My favorite, Semi Radradra, actually. Also, controversial take, guys. Semi Radradra, some of you aren't old enough for it, but I reckon in his prime, best winger to ever play a game of footy. In his prime. Now, longevity of career doesn't hold up, right? So you can't call him the best winger ever, but in his prime, he's the number one in my view. Gun 40 comes in with the Fui Fui Moi Moi captaincy call. Look, Fui Fui, I think you're saying this because you know this. Fui Fui was my first ever captain in fantasy. So back in 2010, maybe 2009, something like that. Fui Fui was my captain. Anthony Watmo was my vice captain. Watmo was actually not a bad choice. Fui Fui was about a 30-minute props. It was kind of like captaining Spencer Leniu, so not the best. And then we'll touch on Turbo here too, but let's see the other captain calls. So what do we got? Yeah, was potentially shutting him down. I don't see it happening just without Mitch Barnett there. I think the Warriors will be strong, but I think Payne Haas will get what he wants to get kind of out of this one. Back-to-back hundreds for Haas. So Scotty's obviously on the Haas Express. Haas, 10 offloads for the back-to-back ton. This is the thing. Like, with Payne Haas, the fact that the Broncos are going to struggle a little bit in this game, the Warriors are definitely going to put up a fight at the worst and probably get ahead in this game at times. You'd think Payne Haas will be throwing some attack at them, right? And they've got some guys in the team who can miss a couple of tackles. So I don't mind the Payne Haas shout. I think Payne Haas is a good option there. Noz asks, has choosing who to captain always been this hard? Yeah, it's been particularly hard this year. So you sort of circle between two different kinds of fantasy, right? So there's fantasy seasons where you have really straightforward captain calls and you've got maybe one guy and they're the captain. And like back in the day, it used to be Cameron Smith for a lot of you guys who played. It was Nathan Cleary for a while there as well. But really, it's just one captain choice. And then you have other seasons where it's a bit more sort of democratic. So this year is a little bit more democratic, but Payne Haas and Terrell May are still the number one guys. So, yeah, it's a tricky one. Fisher Harris locking Haas up. Didn't lock Leota up last week, but yeah, he'll definitely step up to Payne Haas. Cap the goat, Pia Kura. That'd be a. If you do that, screenshots. I want him. Keon Kolomatangi with the skip. Yeah, this is a decent shout. So Keon is up against the Dolphins. The Dolphins are a great side right now, but they're missing a few of their forwards, as you know. So they're missing a lot of forwards. So that middle forward depth is not quite as strong as it used to be. That's where I think maybe Koloamatangi could rack up, a couple of big attacking plays in this game. So I reckon Koloamatangi is actually not a bad shout at all. I personally, by the way, haven't decided who I'm captaining yet. So Koloamatangi might be in the conversation potentially. Haas, yeah, it's a tricky one. It's a tricky one. Broncos 13 plus. Yeah, okay, fair. There we go. Well, that's probably not a great one for Haas then. If they run up a big win, Haas might get a rest. Mayo over Haas for ABM, fair shout. Mateo goes with Payne Haas. I need Cash Cows goes with Cleary. We got Keon here. Herbie Farmworth, pod captain. Let's talk about Herbie here for a second before we keep rolling through. But for Herbie, so you've got that matchup against South Sydney. I'm just trying to think, is Herbie up against Jack Whiten or Campbell Graham? Either way, they're pretty tough defensive matchups. So I don't know if I'd go for Herbie. No Jack Bostock either. I think the fact that they were playing so well together was really elevating Herbie Farmworth's scores. That's where I think maybe you put a pin in Herbie for this week. Obviously, you start him in your fantasy side this week, but I wouldn't necessarily be running Herbie as a captain this week. I think you leave him just as a player. Then Koloamatangi, yeah, fair shout. Does the Haas Niggle worry you? It absolutely does. So the Haas Niggle, it can cause problems if there's the wrong game script. So if the Broncos get ahead by a bunch, they'll give him a rest. If they go behind by a bunch, they'll give him a rest as well. If it plays up, they might give him a rest. The minutes won't be massive, but Payne Haas has shown that he doesn't really need enormous minutes to be super, super effective in this side. So that's where I think that you could still go Haas. I think he'll be fine. He has that big explosion potential, as we know from last week. Liking King Tongia. Yeah, I mean, I think King Tongia will go all right this week. We're seeing signs for him. He's getting better and better in attack, and he's up against Parramatta this week, who can leak a few points. Fogarty is captain. Who are the Raiders up against? I'm just trying to remember. The Raiders have the Knights. Yeah, okay. Fogarty, I just don't think he has that upper ceiling. And then we've got, Keon. So some of the same guys there. Farmworth, Keon, Herbie again. Piakura, Manu Vardave. Yep. And then Cleary, Unleash on the Dogs. Hey, in 5 minutes, we're going to get that last-minute mail. Just want to make sure he's playing before we captain him. Wouldn't say number one, but definitely top three. And Wayne Bennett, captain. Where's Turtles? Turtles, he was working today. He was working, and he had to work late. So, unfortunately, couldn't make the stream this week. So, yeah, just give him some abuse on Discord for me. Let him know. He's letting us down. Nah, he's fine. He's fine. Then Herbie lining up against Cody Walker this weekend. That could improve things. I just think that edge without Bostock might be in a little trouble. Haas, Ben Barber. Can you show a photo of 2009 fantasy? I'll try and find one for future weeks. Try and get some old photos because I've got some old screenshots of OG fantasy. So I'll get it out and we can even do a nostalgia episode with some of the older players, like talk about the old days of fantasy and how things went. Semi Radraja at the man, yep. And then who are we captaining this week? I'll make a call at the end of this. At the end of the episode, I'll give you a call. I still am pondering it a little bit. Then cool. So that's sort of the captain call. So really, I guess I'm just reading the rest of the comments here, but I guess to summarize where we're looking with this, I think Cleary. I think you probably rule out Cleary. He looked really bothered by that injury in Origin. That's my one worry there. So if you stick it on Cleary, you're playing with fire a little bit. Payne Haas has sort of shown he can play through it a bit more, so I'm okay with Payne Haas. I think Payne Haas, Terrell May. If you toss a coin between those two, I think you won't be let down. Koloamatangi is that next option there, has some upside, definitely has some upside. And then, we could talk about, there's other guys on this list that I've got here, like Isaiah Katoa, Jacob Preston, didn't get a mention. Toby Couchman, I think he's going back more towards that middle forward role. So I actually think Couchman's going to be big, but I wouldn't captain him necessarily. I just think he'll be solid. And the rest of the guys, you're really going Payne Haas, Terrell May. I'm probably leaning towards Payne Haas right now. I just think that minutes reduction for Terrell May, that's the big one there. That's the big one that's sort of holding me back a bit. Now, before we jump into the next game, I want to talk about who's going to pop this week. And I think it'd be fun one to talk about, Latu Fainu, right? So Latu Fainu, the Tigers, we've got Manly as well. Manly have a big reshuffle this week too. And in the Manly reshuffle, you've got a few moves that definitely didn't help my fantasy side. So we've got Tommy Turbo moving to the center spot. Leo Hapawadi moving to fullback. We have Ruben Garrick going to the wing spot. Jazz Tavanga goes to hooker. Same week that Jazz Tavanga is apparently leaving the club at the end of the year and going to Super League as well. So what I want to do here is look into that Manly versus Tigers game. And what we're going to do here is we're actually going to build a SmartB daily fantasy side for that one. So I'll just jump into that. The SmartB, let's just go. Have we got the game there? We got it, yeah. Manly versus Tigers. Awesome. Let's jump into a little SmartB game. And I want to hear from you guys. Actually, just let me know who do you think in this Manly versus Tigers game is the one player who's going to explode? Who do you think is going to be that biggest scorer this week from the Manly versus Tigers? I'm going to start filling the squad up, and I'm going to jump into the chat after and just have a look and fill in with some of the guys that you guys are mentioning. Now, in the halves here, let's have a look at the halves first, and we want to take a look at sort of based on average and price there. So Cherry Evans pretty expensive, Brooks pretty expensive there as well. Luai a bit cheaper. And then down the list here, yeah, we've got like we could take a few guys like the guys on the bench there. Basically, you're allowed to pick them in any position. So Latu Finu is nice and cheap at 355k. But if we're looking at the halves here, I'm going to go Jerome Luai, and I'm going to take Delhi Cherry Evans. I'm going to say so. I'm going to fill that up there with those guys. Then I'll just jump across to the chat here and see. Have we got any nominations for players who are going to explode? So we've got heaps. All right, cool. Let's go. Lehigh Hapawadi is the first one mentioned here. So ABM's got him. Cool. I'll put Lehigh Hapawadi in. Big Hopper. We've got Luai as well. So we're thinking the same locked up. Hapawadi. All right, we're captaining Hapawadi, boys. We're captaining Hapawadi. That's locked in. That's locked in. Captaining Hapawadi. We'll squeeze Latu Finu onto the bench as well. Bullimore. Okay. Bullimore, more Hapawadi calls, more Lehigh calls, more Luai calls. Garrick, yep, fair shout. I think they could light it up. Twal. All right, so I'm just going to add these players in. So we've got Twal, Bullimore, Lehigh Hapawadi, and Garrick there, as well as Latu Finu. So let's go to the back line here first. So we'll squeeze Garrick in here. And then we'll put Hapawadi in there as well. We'll make Hapawadi our captain because you guys were hyped on Hapawadi, so I can't turn that down. Interchange, I'm just going to drop Latu Finu onto the interchange as well. And then in the back row, we had, I think, Bullimore. Cool. By the way, guys, link is in the description of this video. If you want to play as well, it's SmartB Smart Play. In the description of this video, there's a link, and you can just click and you can create a team here as well for free. So just create a free side. And you can compete with me. Manly v Tigers game we're going to do for the first one. Starting next week as well, they're going to start giving away jerseys for top scorers every week. So completely free to play. Jerseys every week being given away. It's pretty sweet. And then one of you guys mentioned Lodge. So, oh man, he's expensive. Do I even want to do that? I'm gonna, I'm gonna use my commissioner powers and not do that one. I reckon that's a dud. That's a dud of a pick. Although I'm going to look silly if Lodge comes out and kills it. Then Latu, Hapawadi, yeah, Tarpanay not in this game, but Garrick, yeah, cool. Skelton, all right, cool. You guys really want Lodge? You really want Lodge? Twal, Skelton, all right. I'll put Lodge in as well. Twal, Skelton, Lodge, and Jazz here too. So let's fill that up with those guys. Scott, Twal, Skelton, Lodge, and Jazz. So front row. Just going to fit these guys in. Lodge is in there. There you go. You've persisted. You're going to make me lose this game. Twal, I think he's available in the back row there because he's playing lock. Yep. And then Skelton. So they get made available in the position they're playing this week. So every week the positions update based on what position they're playing. And then Jazz, Tavanga as well. So we could put him in the front row pretty easily actually because he's playing hooker. So let's go Jazzy Boy in at the hooker spot. Now I'm going to start filling out the rest of the squad here. So in the back line, we've gone Garrick and Hapawadi. We've got Hapawadi as our captain here. A lot of you guys were keen on Luai, so we're going to make Luai our vice captain. I think he does have a big game. Then Turbo's sitting here at the center spot. He could be an option. Kola, Taruva, Saab. Yeah, safe ass down there. But Toa, Stafford Toa. I'm definitely going to put Stafford Toa in there. I think this is a game that Stafford Toa really shows out. And then we could take a shot at Heath Mason if we wanted to. In fact, that's what I'm going to do. So Heath Mason for that final spot. Just playing at fullback there, I think Heath Mason's going to really put his best foot forward in this game. In the back row, let's fill out that spot. We got Gerbo, Brown, yeah, Samuel Alafino. I don't mind him for a shout. No Olakawatu in this one, so Korea Waddell is going to start. Bird is starting this one too. Maybe Ben Trebojevic to grab a try potentially. It's a bit dry actually, the back row there. So Gerbo probably feels like he might be the shout. Nathan Brown. I'm going to go Samuel Alafino, just have a big game and hope for some attacking plays. So I'm kind of leaning a bit towards the Tigers here with some of these picks. And then obviously we got to go Terrell May. Probably make Terrell May our captain if I was picking my own team, but you guys were keen on Lehigh. So we'll stick with Lehigh Pawadi pod captain. Also in this game too, in SmartB, it's 2x multiplier. So double points for captain and 1.5x for vice captain. So vice captain actually gets a points boost as well. Then I'll grab Coruscant for the hooker spot there. And do I go Brooks, Gerbo, Takiaho, Brown, Dewey? I'm going to go Tolu Kola to have a big game here too. I think it'd be a bit of a shootout here. And then do we double down? Burbo just keeps calling out to me, but I'm not going to do it. I'm going to go, I'm basic. I'm going to go Tommy Turbo. Let's stick Tommy Turbo in that last spot, and let's submit our team here. So we fill that aside. That's our Manly side done and dusted here. Now, we built our Manly Tiger side. Remember the description, link in the description, guys. Try out SmartB. The more of you guys play as well, it helps me too. So because we're working with SmartB to really promote the game. So yeah, it definitely helps me if you jump on SmartB, create a free team, have a bit of fun. They're giving away a bunch of Origin jerseys for Origin 3 as well, so you might as well get familiar with the game now. Now, I'm just going to quickly touch on some late changes to team lists here. So let's have a look at team lists this week. And let's just go straight to NRL.com. You guys just use behind the scenes here and seeing the Panthers v Bulldogs team list. What have we got here? Any changes? 1 to 7, all clear. We got Luke Garner coming in, Isaiah Papali'i back to the bench. Yeah, look, that one's pretty expected there. So Garner comes in, Isaiah Papali'i back into the prop role. A few people were asking about Papali'i this week, and that was sort of my read on it, that he just doesn't play that edge back row role. They just don't see him as that edge back rower. Paul Alamonte, 18th man as well. So if you're in a draft league and you're running him, definitely don't do that. Josh Curran on the bench here, playing as a bench prop behind King and Sluka Fafita. He'll still play big minutes, but this is kind of what I was talking about when we were looking at Curran. So Curran's a fantastic scorer when he plays big minutes on the edge, but as a bench prop, he's just not super effective. So there's a bit of an update there. Outside of that, a few changes have come through. So we've got Ruben Garrick is moving to the wing, Turbo moving to center, Lehigh Pawadi fullback, Jazz to hooker, as we talked about with the Manly game. Then for the Roosters, we have Victor Radley out for about a month here, maybe more. He's got HIA problems, so those concussions have caught up to him there a bit there. At least a month on the sideline, which is really bad news for him. Saw Wong is also out for an extended period. I think it's 4 to 6 weeks there, so an MCL issue. So for the Roosters, it means that they're missing their starting lock and their starting edge back rower. They've got a few guys in Origin, that kind of thing as well. So we're going to see Fiketti potentially grow into more minutes there. A few other guys. Maybe Nat Butcher comes back at some point soon. It does open up a few minutes there for Roosters players, though. So, yeah, Radley is out for a while. If you do have Radley, definitely sell him. Fletcher Sharp, still dealing with those medical issues as well. So he's out for a long time too. Definitely sell him. And then Jack Howarth is one that we were eyeing off for future weeks. And he's definitely not one that we're going to buy now because he's out for 3 to 5 weeks, getting his appendix removed, I believe. So, yeah, you're not going to jump on that one. Now we'll talk about We'll jump back to the sort of trades here because I think trades are a fun one. And no, I will not go a single episode without mentioning Cam Munster. Here he is. So who are you buying? Who are you selling? Now's the time. Fire through some of the, you don't have to send me the whole trade, right? But fire through some of the questions you have in terms of your trades or who you're thinking of buying this week. Who are you excited to buy? Who's a player that you're tearing into buying right now? Because you might be jumping on the basic ones here, Jacob Kraz, Jacob Preston, these types of players. Or you could be going for something a bit out there and going Lehigh Pawadi, going Ryan Pappenhausen, one of these types of players. So it's a pretty exciting week here. So we got Jake here coming in with Walsh. Walshy boy. Not a bad shout. Not a bad shout there. Walsh could be big. Walsh or Turbo this week. I mean, Walsh is the superior player right now, playing at fullback, but Turbo is cheaper. That's sort of, yeah, I would say Walsh is the better option there. I'd definitely go Walsh over Turbo. Lawson to Mason, only if you need numbers at wing fullback. That's the only reason you would do that one. In old fantasy, was fullback and wing position separate? Yes, I believe they were. I think, I'm trying to remember. Actually, I think they were, no, I don't think they were. I think they were just wing and fullback from memory. So unless they were separate, maybe it was like super coach. I can't remember exactly. I'm gonna have to go look at that actually. But fullbacks weren't that useful. Like you didn't really pick fullbacks. Like we weren't, Billy Slater was nearly base price when he was playing, so it wasn't great. And yeah, let's see. New app, yeah, that's SmartB. That's SmartB. So yeah, cracking daily fantasy sort of game. There's a few really good games out there actually that I enjoy. So yeah, working with a few of these guys, and they're bloody awesome. I love people who are doing new things in the NRL space. Like it just levels up the game, makes it a lot more fun. Radley, time to retire. That's brutal, mate. Brutal Nos. Curran to Preston or hold Curran. I would make this trade. That's a mid-ranger to a gun. Definitely make that trade. Troll mid asks, hey Longy, is Wong, Sharp, and Pacific Tonga to Firma, Karaz, and Finau good? Leaves him with 3 trades, 0k in the bank. Finau is kind of useless though. I would say no. Go back to the drawing board. Do something different. Lawson to Heath Mason. Yeah, if you need numbers, yep. Munster a sell for short. Not a chance. Not a chance. Look at him. Look at him. Just there. Just there. He is such a hold. Munster going big. Jazz to Walsh. Not bad if you have the hooker cover. Jaden Brayley, if he stays at hooker, he's a machine. Absolutely. If he stays at hooker. Mason, yeah, it's a fun one to buy this week. Brayley, hoping for security. The security is the hard part. The scoring is great, though. Firma to Preston to upgrade. I don't think that one's worth doing. I would keep Firma and find another way to get to Preston myself. Sell Curran to Preston. Yep, agree. Definitely do that. Tamale to Walsh. Lehigh to Garrett Puppy. Yeah, it's your call between those. Like they're all good options in different ways. Have a look at the teams they're playing in and make a prediction on which of those teams you think will go well. Like that's kind of how you got to split it a bit because they're all a bit attacking stat reliant. Lehigh Hopewadi, if he was guaranteed to keep the spot, I'd pick him over all of them, but he's not guaranteed to stay at fullback. That's the issue. Now let's just see a few more. Munster. Here we go. This is a man who has some culture. A man of culture. Munster pops this week. That's better. That's better. This is the kind of comment that I want, guys. This is what I want to receive. What I want to be reading. Latu Finu. So Fainu. Yeah. Do that trade then with Latu Finu. Yeah, I like that. Sharp to Cook. Yeah, if you need the hooker, you could do that. Mason or Simi. I like Mason better, but he's got a bit more time in the team than Simi Sasangi does, most likely. Also, Simi doesn't play round 19. Round 19 is a bit challenging. Talakai, a good cash cow. Yeah, decent option. You could jump into him. And then Lawson to Finu for the 8th time. Yes. Yeah, so these cash cow swaps, guys, like I'm going to answer these like all at once, right? They are worth it if the cash cow is really good. And Finu is not the best cash cow. So he's okay, but if you need the cover for round 18, it's a good trade. But only do it if you would be playing Finu in round 18. Don't do it if you already have, coverage for those spots. And then here we go, another banger, Munster for 100. That's exactly what we want to see here. Now, in terms of buys this week, I've been tossing it up a bit too because I've got a few options here. So I need to cover wing fullback wing fullback half and edge forward or middle forward. I can kind of like play around with those 3 positions there. So I could go a triple trade and do something like Preston, Walsh, Finu, or I could do a double trade, just go Karaz and Hughes and keep one of those spots open for next week. Or, I'm tossing up a few things. And to be honest, I'll make my call right at the last second. I'll make my call right at the last second. I just got to, really, really get a gut feel for it, sort of watch a bit of the pregame and get a vibe. But I think Karaz is one that you want to get onto. He's one that you want to get onto. It's just a question of whether you get onto Karaz this week or next week. Because if you get Karaz next week, that's absolutely fine as well. You can do that and, you get yourself out of a bit of the risk on him making Origin and that kind of thing. The issue is a lot of us do need a wing fullback this week. So that's where, it makes sense to go early. A few of you guys asking me how many trades I have. Just trying to remember, there it is. I've got 7 trades left. So I'm feeling all right about that. 7's not bad. Didn't trade last week. Held off. I'll be sweet. I'll be sweet. You kind of need 3 trades for round 19. That's kind of what you want to keep in the bank. So as long as you have 3 or 4 trades for round 19 at least, I think you're okay. Munster flops in game 3 and misses the winning field goal. There won't even be a field goal. The Blues are going to win by so much. Field goals won't even be considered here. Jaden Brayley an option? Yeah, he's an option. A bit of risk there, but a great scorer, 100%. Preston and Hopewadi or Karaz and Fainu? I think Preston and Hopewadi. But it does cost more, so I guess there's cash in the bank. I'd still probably lean towards Preston Hopewadi, man. I think that's the play. We captain Hopewadi in our SmartB side, so we're on the Hopewadi Express, man. Then let's see. Have there been, by the way, guys, have there been any other last-minute changes to team lists? So for the other teams, as we go through the round, I'm going to have a look at those as well. But let me know if you're hearing any rumors or anything like that. And I'm sure I'm going to get a bunch of fake rumors, but a couple of true ones maybe as well. Then this is brutal. Great display picture. Very nice room as well, man. Nice room. Munster sucks. It's just I can't take it. Can't take it. 8 trades, not bad. 6 trades up to 2 this week. That's a great position to be in, mate. You're in a good spot there. Riley Smith and Sharp for Farnworth and Walsh. It's okay. I think you're a bit late on Farnworth. If I didn't have Farnworth now, I wouldn't get him at this stage. I'd wait till round 19. Paddy to Hopewadi this week, or Curran Teddy next week. Need a wing fullback for round 18. I'd go Teddy. I think Teddy's the play for sure. Now, Kyle comes in. I'm 5K going Sharp. Just short. So he didn't have any money in the bank. I wouldn't hope on him losing cash. I'd probably just buy Pappenhausen or Drinkwater. I think Drinkwater's a good option. Get one of those guys instead. I think that's the play. Cool. Now, we've got who are some other players you guys think are going to explode this week? So drop it in the chat there. Who's a player you think is going to pop off for fantasy this week? Because I'm keen to know who people are looking at. Much dislocated his mustache. Garrick to the other wing and Saab into the squad. Interesting, Saab coming back. Duncan to Preston. It's a mid-ranger to a gun, so I don't hate it completely. But yeah, Herbie or Preston. I think Preston just for the coverage there. Paps, Hughes and Grant. Teddy, Drinky, Hughes. Let's do that actually, because Hines 58. I'm just thinking about another game that we can do. So because we can jump onto SmartB. I normally like to do 2 games on this show. So let's jump into another game here. So I'm just going to go back to Smart Play. And just to make sure, if you are jumping on, just go free competitions to start, at least when you're starting out. There are paid competitions as well where you can win prizes and that kind of thing. But I'm just going to go free competitions here. So that's a little tab there. I'm going to jump into that Cowboys-Titans game. I think a lot of you guys are shouting them out as options that could pop off this week. So for Cowboys-Titans, again, drop it in, guys. Let me know who you think is going to pop off in this one. I'm going to go straight away here and just jump into the back line here. And I'm going to go Jackson Purdue right there. I'm going to sort by averages to bring Drinkwater up the list here. Oh, where is he? Gotta find him. But yeah, Jackson Purdue, I'm popping him in and I'm making him my captain this week. I reckon Purdue is on for a big one. Then, you know what? I think there's a little bit of a bug. I'm going to jump to a different game. Let's jump to a different game here. So we've got free competitions, rugby league. Let's go Cine game. Let's go. Oh, do we take the Wars? Let's go Knights v Raiders, actually. Let's jump into that one. So who do you guys think is going to explode in that one? Because I've got a really strong opinion about this. I'm just going to put him in straight away. I think Kalen Ponga is on for a monster. So I'm going to pop Ponga straight in there. He's actually kind of affordable here too. I'm going to make him captain. And what I think here, like my theory here, is pretty straightforward. It's that Kalen Ponga is set for a monster. set for a monster. And like no Fletcher Sharp there is bad news for the Knights. But I think it's good news for Kalen Ponga's scoring production. So I think he will take over more of that sort of edge running role. And I think we're going to see him, go back to old Kalen Ponga. So that's what I'm excited about. I think Kalen Ponga is going to be popping off and putting him as captain there. If he goes well this week, I might buy him in round 19. And then Kai, terrible comment. Is this True Monsters injured? Definitely not. It's a firm no. Can you put the live NRL? Oh man, I definitely can't stream NRL for you, unfortunately. But it's on channel 9, so you should be able to watch it on your TV in about half an hour. So we finish up in about 20 minutes there, and you can jump across to the live broadcast after we go. Moses to Munster. Yeah, maybe. I mean, you got to sell Moses for sure. I don't know if I would target Hughes over Munster myself. Just with the origin coverage and all that, you just got to go that way. But I think Munster's a good option down the stretch. To get Cook Longy, no, didn't get Cook. I've got Jazz Tavanga sitting there, so I'll just write him out, and then I'll jump on Connor Watson in round 19. That's my plan anyway. Would you go Hughes or Metcalf? Ooh. If I'm buying one this week, I'm definitely going Hughes. But if I had Metcalf, I probably wouldn't sell him for Hughes. Purdue's getting 30 since I got him in my team. Yeah. And then let's hit some of these players. So Hastings, Jake wants all Raiders players. Hudson Young, when he's back, definitely. So we got Hastings, we have Marzu, Bradman Best, Jed Stewart. I'm going to start putting some of these players in. So Bradman Best, Marzu, for sure, we can get him in. Oh, there was Jed Stewart right down the bottom. Base price, we save a bit of money on that one. I don't mind that. Hastings, we'll put him in the halves. So Hastings, actually 650k. So he's a reasonably decent price here. Who else have we got here? Who else suggested? Let's build this team squad. Big Red, yeah, Corey Horsburgh. Good shout. I like that. Bradman Best. We can make Bradman Best our vice captain. I don't mind that. Tarpanay. So Horsburgh, Tarpanay for sure. Yeah, Tarpanay 80 plus. Hosking. All right, we can do Hosking. I don't want to do Hosking, but I'll allow it. I'll allow it. So in the front row, we got Horsburgh. Oh, he must be in the back. Oh, he's at lock. He's the back row. All right, Tarpanay. Then back row, let's jump on big Corey Horsburgh. Oops, that's Borsburgh. The horse. And I'm going to fill some other spots here. Let's jump on these. So we got in the back row, definitely not getting Thomas Cant. Maybe, yeah, Lucas for sure. Definitely getting Lucas. I'm on Kai Pearce-Paul here. I reckon Kai Pearce-Paul, it's a tough one. Like, he needs a bounce back for us in fantasy. Otherwise, it's hard to believe in him at this stage. So Kai Pearce-Paul, I'm hoping for that big bounce back game. Josh Papali'i's actually been in great form recently. Jaden Brayley, a decent price there. We guess Starling as well. I might go Starling with this other spot. Yeah, let's do it. Let's get Tommy Starling there and fill it out. Grab a couple of hookers there. Hope for that 50 plus tackles. So SmartB too, guys, you do get the bonus for 50 plus tackles in a game. In the halves, I'll jump on the Fogarty. One of you guys mentioned before, Fogarty is captain. And in the back line, we go Ko Weeks, Matt Tomoko. Do we go Dom Young? Let's do it. Dom Young for a big game. We're going a bit Newcastle heavy. That's actually a bit scary. And then on the bench here, who do we tear into? We're looking at Sanders, Coggers, Gamble. Nah, Frizzell, Hosking, what he mentioned. So I'll put Hosking in there for us. And then I think Josh Papali'i, he's been playing like 50 minutes a game. Gagai is a great shout here as well. And the last one, Phoenix Crossland, has been in interesting form recently. He's been playing big minutes at lock, so I'll put him in. Bradman Best, vice captain, Ponga as captain, and just do the free game, but I'm just going to do a paid game here instead because I play a bit of SmartB myself. So that's us done with that team there. We just made our second team. Remember, that link is in the description of this video. Now, jump back in. Some last-minute trade questions, guys. What do you got here? Do you have anything? Is there anything really, like got you stuck here? So McInnes and Sharp to Preston and Carraz, or Smith and Sharp to Hughes and Carraz. Probably keep McInnes and sell. Is it Sand and Smith? I'd probably sell Sand and Smith. Keep McInnes there. Get Hughes. But Preston and Kraz is a great pair of players. It sort of depends what you need for round 18. I'm probably leaning towards getting Hughes and Kraz and keeping McInnes. That's probably where I'd lean there. Gago with the kicking, yeah, could be a beast here. Can't see the Knights beating the Raiders. I actually reckon the Knights are not impossible here. I reckon they could get a win here. Canberra's been a little bit dodgy in recent weeks, and I think they could struggle. And then, the Khanmeister, Renegades legend, Sherb. If you guys are on Facebook and you are older than 30, you might remember Sherb. Good to see you, bro. Good to see you. McInnes and Sharp to Preston and Kraz. Yeah, these are pretty straightforward ones, these trades. Then play Jazz or Latu. I think Jazz, I've got Jazz penciled in for about a 35. I have Latu penciled in for 35 as well. It's a tough toss-up there. I'd probably run Jazz myself. I just think he's going to get some minutes in the middle and get it done. But if you think the Tigers are going to win, then go Latu. I mean, to be fair, Manly are going to run a lot of ball at Latu Finu, so he'll make a few tackles. I'm sort of flipping, actually. I'm going to say Latu, but it really is close. Is Hughes a must? Not a must. Not a must. He's a good option. If you need the coverage for round 18 halves, Hughes is a good option. If you don't need the round 18 half coverage, then you don't have to get him. Then Fletcher to Heath Mason. Yeah, banks a bunch of cash. Don't mind it. Hubner, Sharp, and Hugo to Hughes, Latu, and Faraz. Drinky got the captain. Wow, big call. You could do this move. I don't like the idea of selling Hugo. So Savala to Hughes is not worth doing, in my view, unless you need the half this week. If you need the player this week, you can do that trade. But if you don't need the player this week, I would keep Hugo over getting Hughes. I don't think it's worth a trade. Then get Drinky over Karaz. I'm pondering exactly this. So for my team, I am considering potentially going to Drinkwater and making some different trades. I'll be playing with it right up until the last lockout there. I definitely will. Then Saab is in. Yep, good shout. Saab coming through. Is Havili a sell now that Mamazels is back? Brandon Smith will be back at some point soon too. You can sell him after the buy as well. I think I'd just keep him for this week. See what happens. Make a call next week. But he's not going to be a great scorer. Then what do we got? Sharp, Duncan, and Jenkins to Kraz, Preston, and Finu. Yeah, look, you're selling Duncan, which is not ideal, but these trades are fine. They're fine. I mean, yeah, you're beefing up your team for round 18, and you're bringing in a couple of keepers. So I'm going to say yes to that. Smithies or Curran to sell. Probably Smithies doesn't play round 19. I think that's the big one there. Curran at least plays round 19. Toya and Sharp to Herbie and Latu Finu. Herbie and Latu Finu. Yeah, I mean, Herbie's off next week. I'm not that keen on getting him this week. They've lost the winger on that edge as well. If there was a week not to buy Herbie, this is it. He's still a great keeper long term, but he's very expensive. I just think if you don't have Herbie, you've already sort of fallen behind that one. You probably go a different direction. Then Knights get over the Raiders this week for the upset of the week. Hey, I actually reckon that's a possibility. I think it's a possibility. On TBC Live, I actually tipped the Knights to win because you get 5 points for the big upset tip. And Noz comes in, Longy. I'm tipping the Panthers because you said they would get smashed. Upset. Yeah. Look, it's hard to tip this year. It's brutal. I mean, luckily I don't do the tipping part of this channel because I get some of them completely wrong. Want to trade KPP to an edge for round 18, round 19, Katoa or Couchman? Probably Katoa, just on the back of that. Oh, but Couchman's going to be solid. I'm going to say Couchman. I'll switch to Couchman. I think Couchman's a better scorer, but Katoa has that game against the Cowboys round 18. That's fun. So if you want to have fun, go Katoa. If you want the better scorer, I think Couchman will be slightly better. Brelly or Latu Finu? Depends what you need. If you need round 18, go Latu, but Braley is the better scorer, so try to get him if you need that. Is Preston or Karaz more important? Preston or Karaz? I mean, it depends on your team again, right? So I'm tossing up exactly this. I think they're very similar. So Karaz is a 57 average. Preston's a 59 average. Preston's been scoring more tries than Karaz, so maybe that plays into your equation a bit. I would say Carraz is slightly more important, but mainly because of how dominant he is at that position. Lipoy Hopoy is sell. You can sell him. You don't have to sell him this week. Thoughts on Chris Randall? Pretty firm, no. Dave Fafita should be back round 19 at some point. Like, he'll start stealing minutes there. Randall isn't their long-term edge back row. Campbell to Carraz doesn't play for 2 weeks. No. No. Campbell's a keeper, man. Campbell's a keeper. You want to keep Campbell for sure. And then, what do we got? Lockie has a gun. What's good, mate? Walsh to go huge. Yeah, I mean, Walsh, there's so many pros and cons of Walsh. Walsh is a tricky one because the Broncos are coming good at the right time of year. It's a day game up against the Warriors. That'll be a bit of a battle between those two teams. The knee issue is not great. The origin risk is not great. He's cheap, so Walsh is a good option. I'm tempted by Walsh. There's like a 20% chance I'll buy Walsh this week and just make a last-minute change to him. So I might potentially do it. Then Yongi for Walsh. Potentially, I mean, actually, let me. I won't jump into it now. Fogarty for Hughes. What are you, Hughes? I'll probably go Hughes. Hughes for the value, I think. He's got to take that value shot. Haas over May this week for captain. Yeah, let's jump back to captains there. So who is everyone jumping on as captain? Like last-minute call. What is your captain call? Have you changed your mind in the last hour? From my side, as we go on, I'm leaning more and more towards Payne Haas. In fact, I'm going to jump into my fantasy right now and change mine to Payne Haas. I think that's where I'm going. Big bad Payne Haas. Just back him to back it up. He's got some big attacking stats in him. He's going to need to step up against the Warriors here too. Although it's challenging this week though. It is tough. What's everyone got? Let's get a bit of a survey going. So, Broncos 2025 premiers. I didn't ask for your best joke, guys. Come on. South to start a run. I actually have South's tip this week, so I reckon they duke it up. Then Kraz or Walsh. That's a money question. Kraz is better, obviously. May as captain. Haas as captain. Herbie. Ooh, nah. I don't think this is a week for Herbie. May. Herbie. Okay, if you want Herbie, you can do Herbie. I just reckon it's not the week for it. Haas. May. Kalomatangi or Haas. May. We got May. Haas. Payne Ligma Haas. Haas. Let's see a team. I can show you my team in a sec. May. Drinky captain. Haas. Wet game. Reduced offloads. Yeah, fair shout. Terrell May. May. Okay. Yeah, a lot of May and Haas sort of captains there. And actually, I'll just shout this one out. He's gone Clark. Clark as captain. And Dylan Lucas. That's a mega pod as captain there too. So I'll just show you guys too. Let's jump into my team. So here's how I'm looking for this week. Just 2 trades for me, so keeping it pretty chill. So I've got, I'll go full screen, you should be able to see. I'll show you. And to zoom out a bit so you can see everything. There you go. Is that going to do it? I think that's going to do it. Cool. So for my side, I'm looking at probably captaining Haas at this stage. I'm running a few guys here. So I've got Campbell, Tedesco, Savala all sitting out this week. Yeah, tough one. Lawson as well. And then I had Riley Smith and Fletcher Sharp as well. So I had about 6 players knocked out this week, which was a tricky one. But, I didn't trade last week. So that's the key there. In terms of hooker, I'm planning to get Connor Watson in round 19. I think Connor Watson, the more I think about it, the more I think Watson's going to be that guy down the stretch. So he's going to kill it. 2 questions here. Was my loops fixed? I'm still chatting to support actually about that. So hoping they can fix it up. They've messed it up and it actually cost me 40 points, which is pretty annoying. But I'm still chatting to support guys. So hopefully they can correct the error there because it took the wrong player from my bench. And a few people had that issue as well. Then I get this so much. How do you not have Clark? Look, I was hyping Clark. If you guys watch the show, I was hyping Clark. Sometimes what I do with my own team is I get a little bit too cute with it. I don't know how to describe it. when you've been playing for a while, you sort of start to make some silly calls, and start to make some pod calls. And when Clark was coming up, I was like, oh yeah, Clark will be fine. I'm gonna take this guy or that guy. I'm gonna take Selwyn Cobbo. Like I'm gonna at fullback, like with the big upside there, and Cobbo decided to piss up everyone at the club and do nothing. But you know what I mean? So with Clark there, that was just a silly one there. I was just trying to play a bit too meta, trying to go a bit too crazy there. And yeah, so that's a mistake I sometimes make. I sometimes play a bit too away from the crowd, and I've just decided, right, I need to stop doing that a bit. Like it works sometimes, and the year I won, it definitely worked that year, but other years it definitely hurts me, and with Aaron Clark, it hurts. So yeah, get it out, have a laugh. And then not very good with hookers. Yeah, it was Riley Smith. So that's all good. I'm just going to run Jazz Tavanga for the next 2 weeks, and then go straight to Connor Watson there, or potentially Harry Grant. One of these guys. I'm going to take a speculator. I'm not going to chase the crowd with Aaron Clark. So I think Connor Watson could outscore Aaron Clark down the stretch anyway. So that's what we're going to cop. Then I think with this too, it is worth shouting out that like a guy like Clark, he has, like we've seen a few times, when they're not injured, when they're at sort of full strength and there's no injuries mid game, he does get that 50 to 55 minutes. So look, I'm penciling him in for a 60-minute role for the rest of the year, so I think he'll be fine. But yeah, if you got Clark, enjoy the wave. If I don't, I don't. But in terms of what I'm doing here, yeah, Donahue's not a bad shout as a hooker. Could go in that direction instead. Why'd you sell Cleary? Yeah. Jaden Brayley is actually an interesting one here. So, and Cleary's selling Cleary. I sold Cleary a few weeks ago, and I'm pretty happy with that call. That definitely was good. To be fair, I sold Cleary for Campbell and Tedesco, so it hasn't helped me this week. But Jaden Brayley, don't mind him as a shout. I will play with a few different options for this week. So Jaden Brayley is one that I'm going to play with. I'll have a think about that. Yeah, really, though, for my side here, what I want to do, because it's just about like stacking up the keepers down the stretch, right? So middle forward spot, I'm looking pretty firm, all covered there. Edge back row spot is potentially all covered. Depends if Kai Pearce-Paul can be good without Fletcher Sharp there. I think he should be fine. So I think the forward pack is actually pretty reasonably put together. I've got to get to Connor Watson somehow. So Tavanga to Connor Watson there is going to cost me about 100K. So that's one move I've got to make. Then I've got to get Cleary somehow as well. I've got Hughes, Munster, Hines, and Savala. I don't need all four of them, so I'm going to turn two of them into Cleary and someone else. Then for the wing fullback spot, I have Karaz, Tedesco, Campbell. So I could make a play at Latrell Mitchell potentially, but I have the three there already. I'm pondering potentially trying to jump onto someone else, but then I've got Garrick and Turbo as backup as well. So at the wing fullback spot, I feel pretty comfortable. In the center spot, I've got Herbie Farnworth, Dylan Lucas. That's fine. They're cool. So from my side, really, it's just a question, all right, how do I get to hooker, Connor Watson? How do I get to a Nathan Cleary trade? And then fleshing out the bench a bit too. So it's Connor Watson, Nathan Cleary, and then I'll probably have a look at some of the cheaper pod options there. So maybe also Tom raises a good point here. Yes, good call. Good call. Don't understand. I give 99% of my energy to advice and 1% to my own team. So, sometimes I don't follow my own advice. But yeah, but really for my final team, that's the big play, right? So because if the team was as it is right now, sort of lined up, if we had Cleary instead of one of Hines or Munster, probably Hines there, and then Watson instead of Tavanga, and then we bring Tedesco and Campbell into the starting side, I'd be pretty happy with that starting team. And then I would have AFB, Koloamatangi, Hughes, and I'd need to get another decent player for the bench, right? So that's kind of where I see my team. I'm going to need to do a few, little shifts, little cash outs. But that's where I sort of look at it. A guy like Lawson, right? I'm reluctant to sell him just because he's sitting there, he's base price. I'd be wasting a trade moving him to another cheapie. It doesn't help me get to that final team. And the final team is sort of the most important thing in my view. So that's kind of where I'm leaning there with my side. But yeah, cool. So that's pretty much main thing we've got time for there. In terms of last minute questions here, we've got 3 more minutes. So what's everyone thinking this week? Actually, what I want to finish, and I think we can make this a new tradition. Drop your most outrageous prediction, your outrageous score prediction for this week. I will put every single score prediction up on the screen so that if you want to, you can actually come back to the channel. You just go to the live tab and you can actually check if you've nailed a prediction as well. If you've nailed a prediction, let me know and I'll do something like shout it out, or I know I'm making this up as I go, right? But yeah, we'll do some sort of shout out. So what is your biggest prediction for this week? So a score prediction is the key thing there. So from my end, I'm going to go, and I want an exact prediction too, an exact prediction. So I'm going to go Jackson Purdue, I'm typing it out, to score 87. I think it's pretty outrageous. You got to do the exact score, guys. So I saw a few like over this, that kind of thing. Exact scores, or exact score of a game too. That's fine as well. So I've got Purdue 87 plus. I'm just going to flash all these up here. So we've got Ponga 90-point game from Noz. Fair shout. And Canada's 90 exactly. Lindsay Smith scoring 70 tonight. Bradman Best for 100 exactly. Oof, that's a big call. Walsh for 88 here. That's a break even. Kai Pierce-Paul for 27. All right, we've got a bit of a low one. I'll count that as a big call. I think that's a big prediction. Then 26-20 to the Panthers tonight. We've got 26-24 to the Panthers, so pretty close calls there. Haas to 94 points here. This one's a nice one here. Pierre Kura, 66 points. We love that. Terrell May, 87 points. May, I'm going to count this one as 100 exactly as a prediction. So 100 exactly, because I want the exact score. Hope you find with a 47. Ponga, 91. Okay, Noz, updated to 91 from 90. Latu Fino, 62. That'd be a big day out, wouldn't it? Ruben Garrick to get 57. Bradman Best, 104. Captain Pappenhausen for 88, so a 44 double to 88. Walsh, 74-point game. Herbie Farm with a 25. Firma double, 89 points. Terrell May, 112. Karaz, 85. Ruben Garrick, 75. You're just hearing me read these out, but I'm going through them. Terrell May, 107. Jenkins, 87. Pierre Kura, 75. Jerome Hughes, 68. We've got Paddy, 40. Let's flash them up. Jerome Hughes, 68. Hopewadi, or Starving Turbo, interesting call. Turbo for 70. Sharp for 0. It's not that brave. Johnson for a 52. Lawson for 0. Drinky for 29. Tipping the Wilds of the Broncos. Oh, tough call. Tough call, that one. Munster for 1 point. Oh, how dare you. 5 minutes 31. Talakai, 57. Panthers to win 24-22. Cleary, 83. Anyone not on my team for 15. Pierre Kura, 74. Eli Katoa, 75. Hughes, 66. Should do a watch along at some point. That'd be pretty fun, actually. I'm going to flash these up as I go through, by the way. So a watch along would be cool. So for a watch along, how would we do that, right? So if we did that, it would more be like it'd probably have to be like audio only, right? And then, just talking a bit of fantasy during a game. Yeah, auctioneer. I'd love to be an auctioneer, actually. That'd be so fun, just for a day. Yeah, so watch along would be cool. I've been thinking about doing that, like an alternate sort of fantasy commentary kind of deal. It'd be sick. If anyone knows anyone at KO, that'd be fun. I reckon they actually need to do a bit more fantasy stuff. Like if anyone was at KO watching along this and they wanted a fantasy show, I think it's ridiculous they don't have one. Why don't they have one? Same for Supercoach, from being completely transparent. Like they should have more shows on those as well. So that's us done and dusted, guys. At 7:30. So get into your footy. And enjoy the games tonight. We got a good prediction here finally. Longy 200. Yeah. Better to listen to than Blocker. I actually kind of love Blocker, eh? But yeah, cheers, guys. Appreciate you. Make those trades. So just, commit it. Go hard. Make those moves. And also just quickly on this, by the way, feels like commentators hate saying fantasy. I always say Supercoach. Fantasy is owned by the NRL. Supercoach is owned by Daily Telegraph. Telegraph, there's been a bit of an ownership change recently, so just keep in mind that's changed a bit recently. But historically, because Fox Sports and Channel 9 and Supercoach are all owned by the same company, they're promoting Supercoach. That's the only reason why they do it. Fantasy is the bigger game, but it's my understanding, this is just how I see it, by the way, it's not a fact, it's just my alleged view of it, is that they're promoting their own game. So that's why they talk about Supercoach. Anyway, cheers, guys. Love your work. Enjoy this weekend. Crush it. Make those big captain calls. It locks out in 18 minutes. So you got no time at all. Get it.